Okay guys, so I don't know if you're like me, but I've never been an iPad person. Typically, I used to keep my ecosystem in between my iPhone and my MacBook, and all that changed when in the past I got my first iPad mini. And since then, I've been loving the iPad a lot so far, and I find a way always to incorporate it into my workflow. This year, with the introduction of the new iPad Pros, I saw how thinner and how lighter they were, and it really caught my interest, especially the 11-inch iPad Pro. This one reminds me a lot of the iPad mini, but I honestly grew to appreciate the size of the screen way more than the iPad mini back in the day. And yeah, I think this is the new iPad mini for me, but better, definitely better. In my opinion, everyone can potentially benefit from incorporating an iPad into their workflow, especially with a more compact size like this one, since it adds to the idea of carrying a lighter and more versatile piece of glass. However, choosing the right one for you is crucial. This year we have two variations in size, which is the 11-inch iPad Pro, which is the perfect size, at least for how I plan to use it, and the 13-inch iPad Pro, which is just way too big to carry every single day. I guess it all depends on the type of creative you are. I can definitely see the 13-inch iPad Pro being a perfect addition to a desk setup, but being a supporting monitor to your MacBook Pro, because the color accuracy is so good now with the new tandem OLED display, and it's big enough where you can use that display to color grade or to edit pictures, or just use it as a secondary monitor for anything that you're doing pretty much. But I can confidently say that this is Apple's most impressive hardware design to date. It's just insane how thin it can be and how powerful at the same time, even though iPadOS is a limiting factor, which we can talk about that later. But this thing is just a beauty to use and to hold. It's incredible. How thin it is just mind-blowing. As I said before, it's completely unreal how Apple was able to put such high-performing components into an extremely thin aluminum frame. And when I say thin, I mean thinner than my iPhone 15 Pro Max and the Apple Pencil Pro. Apple advertised it as the thinnest Apple product yet, and if you see, I've been putting it side by side like this and the camera can barely focus on it. This is the 11-inch iPad Pro, which is slightly thicker than the 13-inch iPad Pro. This one is 5.3mm thick, and the 13-inch Pro is 5.1mm thick. One thing that kind of like somewhat bothered me a little bit is that the Apple Pencil Pro, as I said before, is thicker than the iPad itself, and the magnets on the top portion here are not strong enough, so sometimes as I'm using it I accidentally hit it and it falls. Maybe not a major concern. It just fell. Maybe not a major concern because honestly maybe it's just me not getting used to it yet. As I get more use on my iPad, it may be an issue that may not occur anymore, but it's something to point out right now at least. Maybe a case will solve that problem, but yeah, just an FYI for now. The bezels are not as small as they are on my iPhone 15 Pro Max, but it doesn't really bother me since I prefer that over the notch when it comes to a tablet. Plus, due to its size, it's likely beneficial because thinner bezels may create accidental presses in portions of the iPad while you're using it. But obviously, thinner bezels are always welcome, but we'll see if in the future we get something more comparable to what the iPhone actually has. This year, Apple also introduced a new nano texture glass. Although having a slight texture screen may sound like a great idea, when used along with the Apple Pencil, it's not for me to recommend since in order to get that configuration, you have to opt for the 1TB version and pay an additional $100 on top of that to get the nano texture display. Again, if you have the money for it and you want it, go for it, but I honestly do not recommend it, and I prefer the standard screen since it allows you to enjoy the OLED screen better. You get better contrast, better colors, and deeper blacks, since when you choose the nano texture, you sacrifice some of that aspects of the OLED screen, but I guess it's just preference if you rather work outdoors or in very bright rooms. At least for me, I plan to use it mostly on my desk and indoors, so it doesn't really bother me and I'd rather have the colors instead. Adding to that, we now have only one camera. Since Apple removed the wide angle lens, we only have now the 24mm standard range, which I don't think anyone will miss. I mostly use the rear camera of my iPad to scan documents, which has been improved this year as well. And beside that, I don't use the rear camera for anything else. So when it comes to pictures, I tend to use my iPhone or my dedicated camera instead. So it's something that I will for sure not miss. Next in line, I have the Apple Pencil Pro, which is a new addition to the lineup. Initially, I wasn't expecting to be using it as much as I have. However, it has become an important part of my daily routine, helping me take notes at work and manage ideas for my YouTube channel. It has truly been a game changer for productivity. Apple has introduced some really cool features such as haptic feedback when squeezing the pen and double tap to switching between your most recently used tool and the eraser. While I found myself double tapping by mistake quite often, it's something you'll get used to over time. The squeeze feature varies depending on the app you're using, but in the Notes app, for example, you can easily switch in between tools, line styles, and colors. Honestly, it's a must-have for everyone planning to purchase one of the new iPads. However, I want to give you the sad news that the new Apple Pencil Pro is an exclusive accessory for the new iPads Pro and Air. This is due to the magnet configuration near the nearly located front camera and the landscape location. Saying this, do not upgrade for that if it's something that you're considering. My dad fell on buying it as soon as it was released, and as soon as he told me, I made him return it because he uses the previous iPad Pro, just to let you know. As we know, Apple has always been known for the incredible attention to detail, and this one really blew me away. When you work on your notes or drawings, especially in the Freeform app, you can now see the shadows or reflections of the tool you're using hovering as you get closer to the screen. It's completely insane. I will be working on my iPad quite a bit to create my own wallpaper pack later on, so stay tuned guys. I'm gonna be working on that and some other digital assets. Maybe later I'll also create my own lot to share with you guys, so I'll let you know when that's ready, but it'll be done sometime soon. Now to finish my iPad first look. So this year my case of choice is the Smart Folio. There's not much to it or different than what we had last year. It's still pretty much built about the same way, and the only thing that I've noticed that is different is that now it has a new view angle, which is nice, but yeah, besides that, it's pretty much the same thing. And if you value portability, you probably consider this one instead of the Magic Keyboard, even though the Magic Keyboard is useful. And I'm not gonna lie, at one point I was considering maybe getting that one instead, since I was planning to do all my scripting in the iPad Pro, and I still kind of like manage all my notes and scripting here, but I do everything with the pen or tapping on the screen. Also, for later on, I plan to use the iPad to edit most of my short form videos. I really want to put the M4 to the test and see how good it performs in DaVinci Resolve. Saying that, there's some keys and shortcuts that obviously using the touchscreen would not be ideal, so maybe later on I added to my arsenal of accessories for the iPad to be able to edit video with more ease. Currently, the M4 chip shows significant performance improvements, but the iPad is still an iPad, and as it stands right now, it lacks software-wise to make better use of the M4. Despite of the ultra-thin hardware, it can handle many power-heavy tasks, which is an impressive accomplishment by itself. This only makes me more excited for the upcoming Apple event next month. There was a significant emphasis on AI, and I'm looking forward to see how iPad OS will evolve to take advantage of the more powerful chip, but only time will tell. And I'm pretty sure that the question that you have is if you should get one. I would say give yourself a month until Apple unveils what's coming to iPad OS so you can make a more educated decision if it's worth the investment at the moment. Since for most people, the only thing you're getting from it is an OLED display, which is pretty awesome, I'm not gonna lie. The new Apple Pencil Pro that requires an extra $125, and the new nano texture display that only becomes an option with the more expensive 1TB configuration and up. Anyways guys, I hope you found this video helpful, and I will appreciate a subscribe if you haven't yet, so you can help me reach 1,000 subscribers hopefully by the end of the year. Thanks again for the amazing support, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Tonight, I'm gonna take you out.